looks like this. We're going to call it The Climb. You know the Miley Cyrus song? So, Miley was had some of the words about it, but I think life's really that. If you ask yourself from our perspective why we're here, it says in the Talmud, a man is born to toil. We're here to grow, we're here to climb. Life is a climb. If you feel you're not climbing, you're not living. If you feel things are really easy, I'm just chilling, then I promise you, you're not growing, you're not doing what it is you were born to do. If you're sweating and schwitzing and you're exhausted and you're like, how am I going to do this? You're probably on the right track. So I'd like to quote Shiri before we start, because Shiri's got this great line when I started teaching her about tonight's class, and she said, wow, Rabbi Hill, we're so lucky to be Jewish. Let me explain. If you check out Instagram and check out TikTok, everyone's trying to learn how to manifest, to attract, to be happy. Secret of happiness. Therapists are making lots of money because everyone's yearning for happiness. Everyone's yearning for growth, to optimize one's potential. And Hashem gave us the greatest gift in the world, which is called the Torah. And in that is the secret how to optimize one's potential, how to succeed in the climb. And he literally creates a system called the Torah, and a reality and an energy which is geared towards all the secrets you need and all the tools you need to become the greatest version of yourself. For example, how lucky are we that once a year we can have a Rosh Hashanah, which means we have an opportunity just to take stock, to stand back and do an accounting. There's a Hebrew word which is a very important phrase called cheshbon nefesh, which means an accounting of the soul. Anyone ever done that? Which means, people do their accounts every year when it comes to finances, but they're not doing it for their soul. Did you ever, at the end of the day, before you go to sleep, did I speak Lashon Hara today? How was my interactions with people today? Did I embarrass someone today? Was I non-aligned to truth today? Did I let myself down today? Did I let God down today? Did I let my mum down today? We're meant to do that. And Hashem gives us Rosh Hashanah as an opportunity to really be reborn every year and to take stock. We then have Yom Kippur, an opportunity to be cleansed, an opportunity to really be fixed, to go to the dry cleaner and come out pristine, clean. Then we have Sukkot, which is the ability to really access the secret of happiness. And then Hashem says, now get to work. And you have 6 months of the grind. But even in that 6 months, Hashem loves you so much, he goes, I don't want to be without you. So in the middle of those 6 months is Hanukkah, where he gives you a little bit of Hanukkah presents. And he gives you a bit of that magical light, which connects you to the light of Gan Eden. Then, Hashem sees in this darkness of the world you've been in, you've all very much been interacting with Egypt. And you've been interacting with the material and probably your phone too much, and social media too much, and your ego too much, and you're now getting really, really distant from Hashem. So Hashem takes you out. First day of Pesach. He literally just takes you out of Egypt and gives you the most greatest gift. And then he says, now you've got 49 days to get Egypt out of you. I'll say that again. First day, Hashem takes you out of Egypt on Pesach. And then there's 49 days between Pesach and Shavuot, where it's our chance to get Egypt out of you. Yeah. And that is going to be, that's the Sfirot. That's the idea of the counting. And we're going to connect it to the Sfirot, which is the spiritual channels of how Hashem made reality, which is the architecture of our soul. Do you know what's fascinating? If I was a mechanic, which I'm really not, if I was a mechanic and you brought me your car and it's not working well, I'd open up the bonnet and we'd be able to work out what the problem with your car is. When someone comes to see me as a client, I say when I do my coaching, and they're talking about emotionally things aren't working out, relationships things aren't working out, the way we open up the emotional bonnet is via the sfirot. The sfirot are all the wirings which are trying to help in tandem to help you be the best version of yourself. When things are going wrong, one of those wires are coming out. So the sfirot is about to harness all the wiring together to become the best version of yourself. But whether it's your emotional, whether it's your thoughts, whether it's your relationship stories, or your patterns, it's all because of the sfirot. And we have these 49 days to do the work. So let's start off with a few big Kabbalistic questions. Are we ready? Let's go. Question number 1. It says in the Torah, Usfartem lachem, and you should count. I'll be honest, one of the reasons I know no human being made up the Torah is no human would have had the audacity to come up with such a strange commandment and then think everyone's going to do it. Where there's literally a commandment for 49 days to count. We literally just count, seemingly. Hey, Shlomo, the Shlomos. Shlomos, we're in the house. Nice to see you guys. Take some pizza, take some wine, come on in, take a chair, take a bar stool. It's a mitzvah to count. What can we build? What can we gain from counting? It's bizarre, So I've got those books in there. Okay, every day I want you to come and count another book. Really? Like, I get giving charity. That's intuitive. That's kind of moral. It's a nice thing. Honor your parents. I kind of get that. But to count a day, I'll do it at the end tonight. What the count is today. So why count? Question number 1. If you're going to try and remember my questions, I'd like you to remember them. Question number 1, Shlomos, why count at all? What's the concept of counting? Question 1. Question 2, and this is an interesting one. Why do we count upwards? Let me explain. Can I pick on you, Sam? I always pick on you, so I'm going to pick on you, right? Do you know yet how many days till your wedding? Have you worked it out yet?
Days?
Yeah?
No.
Okay. And do the count.
5 months.
Huh? 5 months. So let's put it 150 days. Let's just call it. So you know what you're going to be doing with your Yocheved over the coming few months? Okay. 4 months to go. 3 months to go. 30 days to go. 10 days to go. 5 days to go! 2 days to go! And that we count, if you've got a great holiday you're looking to get to, or you've got your exams. I used to feel like when I was at school, how long before I'm out of school? Only 2 weeks to go till out of school, and 1 week to go. Normally we count down. You start off with, it's 50 days, and there's 1 day till I get the Torah. In life, generally, we count down. Yet, Hashem says, no, I want you to count up. After Passover, days 1, day 2, 3, day 4. But the count, is the count up. What am I counting on Hanukkah? With their candles? Is it now 2 candles, 3 candles? Okay.
No.
It's not a count. You're right. We don't. There's a machloket Hillel and Shammai why we don't go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But I've never seen a count where you're counting upwards. We normally count down. So why is it that we count down? Question number 2. Question number 3, and this is a crazy one. Normally every word in the Bible, every verse has a literal meaning. If God says honor your parents, he's not talking about a metaphor. He means your parents, honor them. But yet, it says in the Torah, Usfartem lachem 50 yom. You should count 50 days. That's the only one we don't count. We count day 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 49, and then 50 is Shavuot, and we don't count that. So it says, and you should count Sfartem Chamishim Yom, we don't. There's no concept of today is the 50th day of the Omer. If you do that with a blessing, you've made a blessing in vain. You've sinned. It's bizarre. You've got a verse in the Bible which says do X, and you're not meant to do it. So where is the 50th day count? Why does the Torah say count 50 days? So let's see who can remember the three questions. Question 1. Why Hannah's on there. Why count? Question 2.
Why count up?
Why count up? And question 3.
Why not count it?
Why count? Why not count 50 if we're told to count 50? And we don't count 50. So why not? Good. So I'm going to give you the answer to those questions, and then we'll start doing the real work. Okay, we understand the macro first, and then we'll go into the micro. So, would anyone like to start off? Why count? What's the concept of counting? What is the spiritual benefit from counting?
Getting excited about something.
Sorry?
Getting excited about something.
Really? So you could see a trailer. But, I mean, to be honest, tonight when I counted the Omer, it wasn't excitement. You know, it was exciting to count, but it's not exciting that you're not meant to be thinking of Shavuot. If you're thinking of Shavuot, you're not doing the mitzvah. If you're thinking of the cheesecake, you're not doing the mitzvah. If you're thinking of, then I get the Torah, you're not doing the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to count. So what is the benefit of the count? Yeah.
Does it add something to Rishama? Is there a matter of like...
There isn't adding. What am I adding? Nidhi Shlomo?
What's the different aspects of what each day represents?
Right. Good.
So it's like your traits, your virtues.
So I'd like us to take, instead of saying the word count, I'd like you to interchange it. So I think the much better word, which is to build. You're building. In fact, in Kabbalah, they say the word for count, the saper, the same word as sefer, a book. You're writing your book. Do you know the way you write your book? One letter at a time. You don't write a book. You write letters. One letter and another letter. Then another letter, another letter. And at the end, you've written your book.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the first 10 days are the point in relation to the spirit. Okay, so what are the rest?
We're going to get there. So we're getting to the micros soon. We'll start with the macros first. So counting, it's about building. It's about writing your book. You're trying to build the building of you. You ready for this? This is a Rabbi Hill concept. Never seen this, but I love it. Usfartem lachem. You should count you. Usafartem lachem. Do you know who you're counting? You're counting you. You're building you. Sammy's trying to become the greatest version of himself. So Hashem says, Sammy, for you to do that, you need to build those 49 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, the goal is, Hannah, to you become you. It's almost like when Hashem says to Abraham, Lech lacha. Go to you. It's not that you count, it's count you. Sfartem lachem. How can you be the best version of yourself? Where's your right hand of chesed? Is it working? Your left hand of gvura, is that working? This week, we're just finishing off with the right leg. By the way, Kabbalistically, it's meturach. If you've got a problem with your right leg, in Kabbalah we'll say your weakness is in netzach. You've got to work on the netzach. Something's going wrong in netzach. Netzach is this week. Netzach is over here.
What does that mean?
It means eternity. So let's go through it again. The top 3 is called Chabad, which isn't really what the 7 lower ones. That's the architecture of the higher level of the consciousness. So we're not doing the work there. We're doing the work down below what's called the 7 lower levels. Chesed on the right is the weak one, which is the right arm, which is loving and giving and kindness, but doing it in a healthy way. Left is Gvura, which is justice and discipline and self-control. Middle, Tiferes, is the torso over there, which is balance and leadership and moderation. 4th is the week we're in now, Netzach, which is Moses, which is victory, Nitzachon, which is domination, but in a healthy way, in a kosher way, a soul way, in an egoless way. Hod, which means either two things. It could mean surrender, or it means admitting. So next week's about letting go. Next week's all about letting go. But doing it again in a healthy way, not in a low self-esteem way of giving up. Giving up isn't letting go. Giving up is how to do hod wrong. Then you have week 6, the sod, which is foundation. It means relationships, it's communication, it's interactions, it's Joseph. And then finally Malchut, which is King David, which is your identity, which is who you are, which is completing your vessel. So when something's going wrong, let's say in your love life. For example, let's say you're too controlling. So that's obviously netzach in an unhealthy way. You're doing netzach incorrectly. You're trying to dominate in an ego way as opposed to a healthy way. So there's one of the wirings. You see, each one has got 7 wires. There's 49 wires. And can you see this? These links? These links are the wirings. So each of us have got these 49 wires within our construct. And when things are going wrong, it's like one of the wires has come out. So if one of you is like in a place of indecision, that's the problem within Tiferet and Malchut. This middle one, there's a wire coming out there. It's like an electrician. Our job is to be electricians to ourselves. Where's the wires coming out? We've got to put all the wires correctly in. You know, if someone has got no self-control, that's in Gevurah. If you're struggling on dieting, and if you're struggling to see things through, it could be a problem within. You're not mastering Gevurah. And each one has got an interaction with the other. So day 1 is chesed within chesed. There's always one of them has got a day within itself, which is very powerful. And then it goes chesed to Gevurah, chesed to Tiferet, chesed to Netzach, chesed to Hod, chesed to Yisod, chesed to Malchut. Right? So tonight, I just counted, I'll say it again, I just counted Hayom, Shmona ve'esrim Yom. Today is day 28, which is Arba Shavuot, which is, anyone know where's 28 on this? Oh man, straight on it. We're in the week of, what are we in the week of? This whole week, what should be the work?
I get a WhatsApp message that's like 5 minutes every day.
Oh man.
I don't even want to actually listen to it.
So I want you to now send me tomorrow a WhatsApp message of knowledge that you know. Sometimes we're reading things, but it's not even integrated. We always say, until you can teach it, you don't know it. Right? This week, Shlomo is the whole week of Netzach. Tonight, we're in the climax of Netzach. So we are here. So we have to create a new one. It's Netzach and Malchus. It's Malchus within Netzach. We're completing the whole component of victory and learning to dominate in a healthy way, and learning how to have courage and strength, but in a healthy way. That's this week. So this is the Malchus and Netzach, and we're meant to do the micro soon. See, I'm such a bad rabbi. It's so bad, right? But essentially, Malchus is so deep. Malchus is the idea of Hashem is completing it. Malchus is that moment when you step back and you start cruising. Has any of you ever felt in your life that you're at your best and it's easy?
Yeah.
So for example, athletes or sportsmen, golfer, I play golf. The best golfers, when you're trying, it doesn't work. Rory McIlroy, when he's on it, Tiger Woods, when I used to watch him at his best, he wasn't trying. He was flowing. There was Malchus involved. When you're trying too hard, you're not letting the Malchus in. Today's the day, the work of the next 24 hours. That's why we're so lucky to be Jewish. Hashem's giving you a secret. If you want to become the best version of yourself, the next 20 hours, you have an opportunity to try less and do more. Try and flow through your work. Flow through your goals. Try and play without pushing yourself. But ironically, you'll go even faster when you stop pushing yourself. It's a very fascinating paradox, because when your ego is involved, you're limited. When Hashem's light is shining through you, it's infinite. Anything can happen. All the greatest sportsmen will say, English people have this funny game called cricket, right? The greatest cricketers will say, the board is just like, they're not trying. They just see the board, it's big, they're just able to keep playing. They're not trying anymore. When you're thinking overthinking, over-trying, forget about it. It doesn't work. Relationships can be that. When you're kind of like forcing things, that's netzach on wrong. When you're forcing things. So back to where we're saying in the macro. We said, why to count? Because counting means you're building. Why count up? So now I'm going to quote Sammy. So I'll let you into a bit of a secret here. We're going to have a tournament between me and Sammy. Am I the better rabbi? Is he the better personal trainer? Right? Because I've taken on a mission to try and spiritually inspire Sammy, and he's taken on a mission to try and help me become fit and lose some weight. Good luck. So Sammy took me to the stairs last week and said, I want you, and it sounds easy, to go up those stairs 50 times, but nice and fast.
I said just once.
No, mate, I wasn't talking about the ones once, but then you made me do it twice, but not talking about those ones. Talking about those little ones. Those little ones go up and down, up. I'm not lying. I'm lying to you. I'm a rabbi, you know what I mean? The little ones, right? The little ones, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So he counted like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50! We didn't do it the other way. We didn't go 50, 49. Why not? Anyone? Come on.
Because you're building.
We succeed.
Because the goal is the building. The purpose is the building. The goal is the 50. The goal isn't the 1. Again. When you're counting down to your wedding, it's because the goal is, I don't want to be single, I want to be married. We want to be married together. So I've only got another. And now, so we count towards your dream. We count towards your purpose. Hashem wants you to build you to get to the 50. Do you know what the 50 is in Kabbalah? Yeshurun. Yeshurun stands for Yashar Nun, straight to the 50th level. Nun is the numerical 50. That's the Yeshurun. That's why we call it Yeshurun. The 49 levels, and the 50 is Gan Eden, is the highest, is your optimum. You know, the 7 in Kabbalah, the 7 heavens, and each one has 7 higher and lower. So in, God forbid, a Rasha, they go to the 7th lowest one in underground, and that's a place called Sheol. We know the name. In Gan Eden, there's the opposite. There's the 7 higher ones. The Ramban famously told a student, when a student was dying, and he said to a student, my darling student, Hashem's going to take you tomorrow. You're going to go to the 7th highest one I can see. And there's going to be an angel by the door, and I've got a note I want you to give him. And the note says, why have you taken my student from me? And the student comes back to the Ramban in a dream 3 days later, and the Ramban wrote it and said, Rabbi, you were right, the 7 heavens. And you're right, I got married to the 7th highest one. And Rabbi, I had your note, which said why. But up here, there's no questions. It wasn't even a question. It's not even a question. You see the whole of reality. You see the whole of truth. What I'm getting at is there's these 49 lowers, 49 highs, and the goal is to get to the 50. And that's why we count up, because we're counting towards the building. It's like a building. You need 50 bricks to build the building. So brick 1, 2, 50, you have a building now. So we asked a deep question. Why is it that we don't count the 50th day when it says count the 50th day? But that's the only day we don't count. So you ready for this beautiful answer? So I've got one of my mentors, Rabbi Dr. Akiva Tatz, who's learned it from his teacher, Rabbi Shapiro. And the way he puts it, he quotes from Aristotle. But Aristotle said the famous line that a whole is greater than the sum of its parts. A whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Meaning, 49 bricks becomes the building. When you repair yourself and fix yourself and build those 49, you become the 50th. You are the 50th. You have to count it. You've done the job. You are the count, meaning 49 separately doesn't add up to anything, but all together. Any of you musicians? This is a musician here. You play an A, and then you play a C, and then you play an E, you've got an A minor. So you've got 3 notes all together creates a sound called an A minor. You put another note, you've got now an A minor sharp. And you have many separate notes, but together, there's something magical. As I've told you in the past, when Mashiach comes, the mystics say we're going to have an 8th note. It's going to go, who the heck knows, right? But it's messianic. There'll be this messianic, and really now, if we listen really carefully, and shut off the noise. I went to my father's grave 2 days ago, and it was so peaceful. And I could feel he was in this high place in the Garden of Eden, and it was so beautiful. And I just felt total serenity, joy, kind of an out-of-body experience. When you have out-of-body experiences, it teaches you that when you're in your mind, in your body, it's not even true. It's kind of you're watching a movie which isn't real. In the bigger picture, you're just a character in the book. Really, everything's fine. And I felt that beautiful serenity a few days ago. Hopefully, if you can join me on Sunday nights, it's your site. I went because it's going to be 6 years that he passed this Sunday night. So we'll have a little Fabregum here, we'll learn a bit of Torah here. Prepare for Lag BaOmer, he died the day before Lag BaOmer. So we'll learn about Lag BaOmer Sunday night. You're all welcome to join. But, let me share with you something deep. The Omer numerical value, let's do this very easy, 3 letters, iron. Anyone know iron? What's an iron? How much is an iron?
750.
Iron, 70. Mem, 40. And Reish, 200. That equals, anyone know?
410.
Guys, 70 plus 40 plus 200. 310. Don't become accountants. Okay, 310. Why is that relevant? 310 is a very important number. The Omer, Sfirat Omer, counting the 310. Anyone can think, why is 310 important? One of the Hebrew words, what's 310? Yesh. 310. Yud Shin. 310. There's a Talmud, the Mishnah in Uktzin, the very last Mishnah of the whole of the oral law, tells you when you get to the next world, you'll all acquire 310 worlds. 310 worlds you all have access to if you're illuminating your unique light. So achieving the 49 gets you to 310. Why 310? Anyone know? Because we have, all of us, 620 mitzvot. There's 613 mitzvot from the Torah and the 7 rabbinical mitzvot. The Arizal explains, you share them with Hashem. Hashem has half of it, you have half of it. So every mitzvah you do, the goal is, your goal is at the 7th highest level, or wherever you are in the next world, to achieve, please God, 310 worlds, 310 unique lights. The way to achieve that is by building yourself. Sfartem Bacher, by building. Now, let's get into a micro perspective. So Sammy's got to try and get me fit. Now, he's going to have a real hard job, as he's beginning to realize, because my biggest problem, probably, I don't know where I'm going with this, is with the right? Is having that self-control, is having that consistency. It's like I can say Sfirat Omer every night. That's not a problem, it's a beautiful thing. I can learn Torah every day, go to the minyan 3 times a day, do lots of mitzvot. But to go and do lots of exercise, which hurts, and I'm busy, and do it daily, and then even worse, to not have the foods, like, I didn't ask, someone literally brought these beautiful cheese breakers. It's like, are you joking? It's like one of my favorite things ever. Right? These cheese croissants, it's like, Hashem, come on! Sammy's gonna come, and he's gonna see me, and I'm gonna get in trouble, and so, he's not living with me 24/7, luckily for him, so he can't prevent me from binging when I want to, so I'm going to have to fix my gevura, my discipline, or maybe it's my malchus. Your malchus is your identity, it's how much you want it. Your malchus is also like where you see yourself. Sometimes you're not achieving what you're achieving because you don't have the clear enough vision to what it is you want to achieve. So you've got to go back to the vision board and make it really crystal clear. What is it you're trying to aspire to do? When I speak to people and I say, what are you looking for in a relationship? What's the profile of person? Often, well, if you don't know, Hashem doesn't know, and then you're going to be stuck. So sort out the malchut. Get clarity of what it is you're looking to do.
If you don't know, Hashem doesn't.
Meaning, we're co-creators. So Hashem knows what you need, but Hashem works with you. Hashem's mirroring. Hashem tzilcha. He's mirroring you. When you're in a place of safek, you're causing him to now have to relate to you through safek. Our thought processes and conclusions creates the interaction of how Hashem relates to us. That's why you're confident and positive and have clarity. Hashem is, we can do some work now. So what I'm getting at is you need to, work out, from the micro perspective, where is your weakness in your life? So for example, is it in relationships? Is it in work? Is it in health? Is it in discipline? Is it in too much ego, maybe netzach? Like, work out where are you going wrong in relationships? Where are you going wrong? Like, I wrote a few things down earlier. Let's see if I can access it. See if you like this. So, for example, when chesed is broken, love becomes need. When gevura is broken, boundaries become fear. When tiferes is broken, you fall in doubt. When netzach is broken, strength becomes control. When hod is broken, surrender becomes collapse, which, be careful, that's next week. I'll have to speak about it. When yesod is broken, in 2 weeks' time, connection becomes despondency. When malchut is broken, identity becomes performance. So, for example, what I love to do, and one day Hashem will help me write a book on literally this. And by the way, if any of you want to help me over the coming days or weeks, we need social media help. So, for example, I would love to put on Instagram every day, what is the work? What is the spiritual work? Every day between now and Shavuot, there's a specific work you're meant to do. We're meant to work now towards Shavuot. You're meant to work to build yourself. Hashem's give you all the secrets, all the gifts. You just got to do it. But people also need to know how to interpret it. So, for example, next week, the work every day is about surrendering. We're going to move from tomorrow night into the world of Hod, which is the world of acceptance, surrendering, admitting. Like, I'm one of you next week, you're going to have to say sorry to someone you didn't think you were going to say sorry to. Next week, you're going to be faced with the inner turmoil of, shall I just step down from my arguments and just let them win? Some of you next week are going to have to really embrace humility. Some of you next week are going to have to surrender. But surrender doesn't mean, as we said, collapse. Surrender doesn't mean, I give up. I give up isn't surrender. Surrender means you're winning But you know it's not your ego doing it, it's Hashem doing it. Surrender means my ego surrenders and let's go for a greater goal. You never surrender your self-love. You never surrender your love for the Jewish people. You never surrender your love for Hashem, but you surrender where the ego is telling you things. You might have ego thoughts, like I need this, and I want this, and I aspire for this. You know? I've got some of my students where they'll say to me, Rabbi, I really want to get married. And I'll say, great, I'll give you some options. Oh, no, that's like, the pickiness becomes beyond, like everyone's meant to be picky to an extent, because beauty's in the eye of the beholder and chemistry is complex. But there's also something called over-pickiness. Can you imagine like no one goes to any restaurant to eat because it's not the best one? It's not like the 5-star Michelin, you know, with a great, like, we don't, but yet in a relationship, when it comes to commitment, only things are perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. We're definitely not perfect. No one's perfect. But yet, so we have to sometimes give up our ego dreams. That's why it comes back to Malchut. It comes back to what is your goal you're trying to achieve? Is that goal, have you checked in with that goal? For example, if it's money that you're after, for the sake of money, because you love money, you might get it, but there won't be inner happiness. You know, when I was in London a few years back, I'll never forget, I was trying to park my car. And all of a sudden this guy comes and smashes into my car. But then he gets out and has the audacity to start shouting at me. He's like, what have you done? I'm like, then I said something you know, maybe I shouldn't have said, but it's like a rabbi reaction. It was like, hashgacha pratit, divine providence. He wasn't happy with it, right? But then, you should have seen him. He was like a grown man. He was like crying because like there was some like, you know, a bit of paint was off his car, and he literally smashed a dent into my car. And to be quite honest, I've got a thing about cars. Like, they're meant to get you from A to B. You can't even see what they look like when you're inside anyway. They're no big deal. You want your car. You can't take your car with you to the next world. Car shma. No big deal. But yet for him, it was like his castle. You know, we say in England, like, you know, man's home is their castle. So, and the car is I don't know, is part of the castle. And is their identity. Some people's identity is connected to their car, or maybe to your apartment, or maybe to a watch, or to how we physically look. And these are all unhealthy identities. Your real identity should be you. Being the best version of yourself, your soul. Your light, which is meant to enlighten the world. That's something to protect. So Malchut is going to be about trying to, what is it that you care about? Is it that you care about your car, and that's the number one priority? Or sorry to say, like some people care more about their dog than the Jewish people, or more about their dog than human beings. And yes, you should care about your dog. If you've got a dog, please do. Otherwise, you know, you shouldn't have one. But not to the extent where that becomes more important than your human relationships. It doesn't say in the Torah you should love your dog. It says, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. It says you're not allowed to cause pain to your animals. But it doesn't say you should love them. Where it says you should love each other. So we all have the opportunity to love each other every day, and to be into interactions, and honor your parents, and love your spouse, and so much love, but yet people are choosing their pets over love. That's just a little example of how as much worse money or work, or there's so many priorities that we're prioritizing as part of who we think our identity is. And part of the Sfirat HaOmer is just to redefine that and relook at it. And what is your vision board? Like, what is it you're trying to achieve in this world? What should matter to you? Let me just quote a few other things. So see if it works here. Gevura, judgment. So what you can do for each of the Sfirot, there's a way to how it comes out in expression. So for example, Chesed, the right, that's divine flow, kindness, expansion of giving. The way it comes out in human expression is love, generosity, openness, feeling, warmth, connection. When it's broken, when people overgive, neediness, losing boundaries, people-pleasing. So if any of you suffer from brokenness, overgiving, neediness, people-pleasing, the work needs to be done in chesed. You've got to rewire some of the chesed. You with me? Gevura, if it's harshness or fear or shutdown, some people, they can be so harsh, so rude. That's the problem of Gevura. That's unharnessed Gevura. Tiferes, when broken, confusion, guilt, contradiction, people-pleasing also is a problem of Tiferes. Netzach, which is the final one tonight, so let's just really work on this over the next 24 hours. The goal is drive, to have ambition, endurance. But when it's broken, it's pressure, it's control, it's forcing. So really that's why today's energy, so just to finish off with, today's energy is to try and achieve try and run fast tomorrow without trying. Run without trying. Play music, we've got a musician there, without trying. Lose yourself in the music. Lose yourself in your mission tomorrow. When you lose yourself, that's the Hashem in you. That's always the Malchut. Ana B'Koach is about the 42 steps. Ana B'Koach, there's 6 stanzas of 7 words. So they ask, why is it not 49? Because Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuton Olam Va'ed is all Malchut. It's all Hashem. There were 42 journeys in Ba'alotecha. When we were in Israel, when we came out of Egypt, we had 42 different journeys to get to Israel. The mystics explain we all have to experience those 42 journeys in your life. But the 7th, each journey, there's a Hashem part of the journey. I reached it a few days ago. I said, Hashem, you've got to take over now. I don't have the capacity to do what it is you need me to do anymore. I'm handing over to you. That's the Malchut. When you can't give up. You say, now it's up to you, Hashem. Now carry me on your back. Now you take me. Sometimes we do the work. Sometimes you ask to go on Hashem's back. That's always Malchut. That's always the last day of each week. And next week's work, as we said, is learning to surrender, learning to admit, learning to thank. Even just to say Modeh Ani next week. Every day when you say Modeh Ani, have in mind, this is this week's work. You know, it's amazing. One of my clients came to me this week and said, Rabbi, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I have such a self-destructive voice that I wake up to. Straight away, self-hate. What's the solution to rewire? And I thought straight away, Hashem is incredible. Because what's the first thing when I say Modeh Ani? Thank you for me. Not just I thank you. Modeh Ani. Thank you for me. Hashem wants you to be in love with yourself in a healthy way. To appreciate yourself. To see the good in yourself. To start the day with Modeh Ani. That's Hod. That's the beginning of Hod. That's an easy part of Hod. The harder part of Hod is when your ego is very involved in a decision, in a fight, in an argument, to let that go. That's going to be next week's work. Just to finish off with one thing, and I'll take questions. What is going to be the secret to achieving your success in building yourself? And that's going to be, if I'm going to succeed in Sammy trying to get me fit, it'll be the same thing. It's really hard work. It's not easy. I promise you one thing, to build yourself, it's going to be at times excruciating, exhausting, but then it's worth it. Let me explain. I'll start with just a few hours in my life past few hours. I came back to Israel. I flew back, arrived at 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. And I had this okay, I'm going to get back to my apartment at 4:15. And I can either stay up, where I hadn't slept. I never sleep on planes. My mind's always ticking, so forget about it. To sleep on a plane. So I never sleep on planes. So I was preparing actually this class on the plane. And I thought, does Hashem want me to stay up and go to sunrise minyan and go to Netz and go to pray to Hashem at 5:15 in the morning, which the earliest time we could pray was 6:05 this morning, 6:01, Yamida. Or can I go to sleep and then wake up to go to shul? And my ego really wanted to go to sleep. But when I asked Hashem, what does he want? I knew the answer in my das, that he wanted me to come and say hi to him, because it says one of the most beautiful things you can do. And I went to Papa Sali's grandson a few weeks ago, and he said to me, you need to start doing nets more, he said to me. You need to start doing something, because apparently when you do sunrise, that's when you're able to do a mitzvah, the first moment of that opportunity, so it's like Hashem says, come and say hi to me. So the very moment, it was the most beautiful thing this morning. So I don't know how, but I managed to get my body and my soul to the synagogue. First of all, it's incredible. It's 5:15 in the morning in Tel Aviv, a room full. And it's not Bnei Brak, it's Tel Aviv. And these are simple guys that you would think, you walk past them in the street and you wouldn't even know they were even observant or religious. The holiest of the holies. Every single, because when I see them, when I go every time there, they're always there, sitting in their own seat, talking to Hashem at 5:15 in the morning. Incredible. And they have this countdown, 5 minutes to talk to us, to be, because you have to start the Amidah at 6:01. That's the earliest time. So they've obviously, in this one of the most beautiful times, and I really recommend, go to the Kotel for sunrise, because you've got hundreds of people all davening different things, and there's like a big noise at the Kotel, big noise, and then silence at that very same second. The second that Hashem wants, the very first time you can say the Amidah, which at the moment is 6:01, the whole Kotel orchestrates, becomes silent. And that's what happened this morning. And it's beautiful. But I was just like, okay, this is exhausting. And I have a custom to go to the mikveh before shul every morning. So I was so tired, and I had to go into this mikveh, and I'm like, please don't be cold. It was cold. And all of a sudden, I'm realizing, hey, society says, go and do an ice bath. We have that for thousands of years, called mikveh. Do consistency. We have that. Do mantras, do affirmations. We have that. It's called Orthodox Judaism. It's just, we've obviously not sold it right. Because it's really, if we called it like Buddhism, if we called it Zenism, we'd be like, oh, I want a bit of that. If we called it being frum, it's like, not for me. If we called it, like Orthodox Judaism, why would I want that? And yet it's the most magical, masterful, beautiful, empowering system. But what I needed to find in me was strength when I didn't have it. And I can honestly say, any time that we've achieved anything spiritually, the one common denominator, it's exhausting. There's moments when your ego says, I give up. Can't do this anymore. Just now we had a marathon in the UK, and 2 people managed to run the marathon under 2 hours. But for them to get to that, and the work they've had to do to go and achieve that, they were in pain. They were probably at times crying. They were in physical agony. So what do you think when you want to achieve spiritual greatness? It's just going to be easy? We're living in this psychedelic culture. People say, just take some plant medicine and you can achieve. Sorry, you can't achieve nothing with it. Yeah, you might be able to get a bit of insight, but the work is day in, day out, consistency. You know what happens? If someone doesn't count one day, you're out the game. You can't do the mitzvah until next year. Because can you imagine you have a building and it needs those 49 bricks and you miss out one brick, the whole thing's going to fall down. That's why Aristotle says the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Because it's not just about 49 different wires, it's 49 all interconnected at the right place at the right time, builds you. You're much more than just 49 days. But to become you, we need to go through those 49 areas of this field. And the common denominator is just incredible work, hard work. It's exhausting. My teacher, that rabbi over there, if you just look at him, he's 78. He's suffering with cancer. And he still only sleeps for 2.5 hours a night. And just learns Torah all day, and writes Torah all day, and prays, and goes to the mikveh, and hasn't stopped his routine one jot. And he's calm, and he's really zen, and he's happy, but he's a master. You want to join his course, you have to commit to 40 years. That's commitment. These guys are full. He's like the black belt Kabbalah teacher in Israel. And to join his class, the Kabbalists have to commit to a 40-year commitment to come to him. When he started his new course a few years ago, he says, I don't think I'm going to be here to complete the course. Because every 10 years a new group starts. So, achieving greatness is hard work, but relish the hard work. Enjoy the pain, hopefully. Sammy's going to get it back to me when I'm going to be in pain, and he's going to be forcing me up the stairs. But when you're spiritually growing, just because it's painful doesn't mean you quit. When you feel resistance, it's normally the Yetzer Hara, because it knows you're about to achieve something incredible. Always, before success comes resistance, and then you've got to just get through that resistance. And that's when Malchus and Hashem takes over, and that's when miracles happen. That's when incredible things happen. So I give you all a blessing that, please God, you should all succeed on your spiritual journey. You should find the strength within you to be consistent, to build yourselves, to fix all those different parts of you. If anybody wants to help me over the next few days with some social media stuff, then we can take, I just need someone else to do it. To say, Rabbi, I'm coming around with a camera, and blah, 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 we'll do it. Because then I'm happy to make small 30-second work for the next 2 weeks, of the last few weeks of this V'ata Omer. So that's something we want to do. And thank you everybody for listening.
Rabbi, I have a
yes,
question.
sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Judaism is a lot about working on ourselves, improving ourselves, being better, try again tomorrow. But you said, if you didn't count one day, you're out of the game. How come?
Good question. I like. So, gosh. So there's games within games. Bigadol, macro, everybody falls, you get up and try again. We did Shuvah. You keep on trying. But the thing, and I was saying to Valerie an hour ago, the thing about Orthodox Judaism, it's not like, hey, if you don't like it, let's just change it. Because it's a bit inconvenient. It is how it is. You'll learn your lesson next year, hopefully you won't forget. Doesn't mean you don't have to do some spiritual work. You continue doing the spiritual work, but you're out the biblical game of the mitzvah of spirit. You're not out the game of the Jewish people, God forbid, right? You're not out the game of working on yourself. You're out of that game. Games have rules. You eat chametz on Pesach. You haven't really done well at the game of Pesach. Do you know what I mean? You go and shake 3 species, you haven't done the game of the 4 species. Are you with me? It's fill in. I'm My gosh, I had one of my students, Shane, I opened up his tefillin. I saw it just wasn't kosher at all. And he goes, yeah, but all the years I've been doing it, you know? I'm like, there was definitely some spiritual gain from it, but sorry to say, you didn't make the tefillin connection. You haven't been wearing tefillin. You have a mezuzah, which isn't good. It's a bit like an email. You can send me an email, but if you miss out the dot, it's not coming to me. With all your good will in the world, if you say Avi Hill 248 at gmail.com, it ain't coming to me. You've got to put in the dot and then connect. So we are all connecting to Hashem via His email system, and the way within Sfirat HaOmer to achieve the biblical ideal game, it's the consecutive. You know, there was a golfer, I told you about my golf, called Colin Montgomery. And one of his drills, and that's what spirituality is, it's drills to come and get you to the best version. He would have to hit 100 putts in a row going in. And if he got to 96, and then he missed the 97th, he's got to start from the beginning again. So it's not a game. It's the consecutive nature which is the game. You miss out one of the days. Try again next year if you're alive. Sorry, it's not like a nice woke left wing. Hey, small cuddly nice answer. But you know, it's real. We're real. You know, there's consequences in life. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I go and smash your car on purpose. I can't go and say, hey, let's just forget about it. You've got to deal with the consequences. Yeah.
But if you miss a day, you still keep counting just without a bracha.
You keep counting without the blessing.
So you don't just give up.
You don't give up, but you're not in the spiritual biblical game. You haven't achieved the biblical mitzvah of counting the 49 consecutive. Because it says in the Torah, tzmimot tiyena. Consecutive. If it didn't say consecutive, you missed out a day, I always say keeping Shabbat. You know, if someone came to the Chavetz Chaim and said, Chavetz Chaim, what do? I'm addicted to smoking and I smoke 36 a day and there's no way I can keep Shabbat. And the Chavetz Chaim says, next week, just smoke 35. I'm not giving you any ideas, but for someone who's meaning, every moment you're keeping Shabbat for that moment. It's not like you don't keep Shabbat. You didn't keep Shabbat for the moment you kept Shabbat. Shabbat is every second you're connecting. But Sfirat HaOmer is a consecutive amalgam. It's the accumulation. I'll give you an example. You ready? It's one of my favorite examples. Rabbi Akiva was told by his wife, go and study to become a rabbi, go become great, and then come back to me. So most people would go like for a few months to yeshiva, maybe a year, 2 years, 12 years. He went for 12 years. He comes back and with his 12,000 students at that point, all walking him home, and he goes outside the door and he overhears his wife saying to the friend saying, how is your husband, this great rabbi? He hasn't seen you for 12 years. What type of husband is that? That's like the worst husband ever. And he hears his wife say, I trust him so much that even if he would be for another 12 years, I'd be delighted. And Rabbi Akiva heard that, and he went a U-turn and walked back to the yeshiva and went for another 12 years. And the question is, at the very least, why didn't he go in and say, hey darling, you've changed, you know, missed you, let's have a hug, let's like have a few months together before I go back? Why did he go straight back? Good question. So that's asked by Rabbi Chaim Shmulevich, the Rosh Hashiva of Mira. So the answer is so beautiful. For him to achieve 24 years, have you listened to this? 12 plus 12 isn't 24. Meaning, if you would have gone for 12, stopped! Then start again, it was something else. But to achieve 24 consecutive years of growth with no interference, you can't stop in the middle. It's like a kettle. If a kettle needs 120 consecutive seconds to boil, if you boil it for 60 seconds, stop! let's have a chat, a little dance. Another 60 seconds, it's not going to boil. Sometimes 60 plus 60 doesn't make 120. If it's the 120 consecutiveness. So the Spirat HaOmer me has to be consecutive. If it's not consecutive, you're not going to achieve the electricity and the magic that comes when all of them are happening consecutively. Sometimes by themselves are a nice thing. But Spirit HaOmer specifically, every day. It's because the consistency, it's creating a new habit. You can't sometimes do it, sometimes not do it. That it's not ingrained. It doesn't become your default, yeah.
Just to piggyback off of that, we were talking about spiritual growth and achieving a certain goal. And how do you know you're making progress? How do you know you're passing steps?
Ask your rabbi.
Yes.
Ask your rabbi is one answer. Right? Second.
And how do you know you made it? Made it is like a far ahead point in your road, but at least how do you know you're making it?
First of all, you never make it. It says, Lo alacha melacha legmor. We're never meant to complete the task. But you're not exempt from trying. That's number one.
All right.
Number two, our job is to do our best. And to write your book. So for you, there's a book called Hannah's Book. Now, don't want to freak you out. But the one which is the highest potential of your life has already been written. And the question is, can you achieve that? And the news is you won't, because you're human. And we have ups and downs. So you're going to write your book. But as long as there's growth, life's like this, But at least let it be ups. Let there at least be ups. And let you be in a better place this year than you were last year. If people come to the synagogue every Yom Kippur and they're in the same place, that's genuinely Chaval al Hazman. We should be in this spiral of we're in a slightly higher place than last year, a bit different. If you're in the same place with the same issues, it's like you're just on repeat. It's Masha'amem and Shamayim, it's boring. Come on, let's see some action. Let's start really growing, and then your movement, and then you crash, and then hide. That's okay, but as long as overall the trajectory is a trajectory of growth and you're overall aspiring to be where you're meant to be and working on the right things and making progress, we can't do better than that. Yeah.
What about Lag BaOmer? What is it about the Saturday day?
So that's called Hod Shebahod in the Kabbalah. You know that? It's Hod Shebahod. Lag BaOmer is there in there. This is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
זה קשור לאהרון הכהן גם?
Hod Shebahod. Very deep. I'm not going to go and start that but if you come on Sunday night, I'll teach you about Hod Shebahod and Sunday night. Can you run Sunday night?
Then comes
Sunday night. Sam, you want to stop the thing? Yeah.